What? I mean, you want to start with that, that's fine.
Yeah, you don't want to start with me.
I'm not getting that into it, I'm sorry.
You don't want to start with me. Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's fine if you want to. I don't care.
Meditating, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. My, what I was going to start with here is, I forgot. No. What? This is going to be one of those nights, isn't it, John?
I'm all right with it.
Okay, all right. No, what I wanted to kind of start with was we need to we need to tell our listeners about listening to us on Patreon.
Oh, yeah.
The after show. Please
do it.
We had so much fun on that last after show. Yeah. Last week, not only do we have a blast during it, it's called The End of the Trail. Mm-hmm. Folks, look it up. Go on patreon.com. $2 a month. Yep. You can listen to our after show.
A direct links, patreon.com/Wheelin Radio.
I'm just going to straight up tell you.
It was awesome.
That probably the best 2 minutes, or the best mistake, quote unquote mistake. This was not planned whatsoever. Maybe in any podcast, definitely in our show, but maybe in any podcast ever. Pure coincidence happens in the first 2 minutes of the episode 46 after show on Patreon. It's called The End of the Trail, but the way you find it is you go to patreon.com/Wheelin, WHEELIN. Like I said, $2 a month. I'm going to even tell you this, and maybe I'm not supposed to tell you this. I think that you can actually sign up for 30 days and cancel before 30 days if you don't like it, and you can get all your money back.
Well, don't tell them that.
Well, no.
We want them to stay signed up.
We want
What are you doing?
That's true.
You're defeating the whole purpose.
Personally, I'd rather them listen. I mean, that $2 is going to buy me some more sparkling apple cider here.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
More of that than this.
Exactly. But folks, you need to do that. And
it's a good time. It's a good show. We have a lot of fun with that.
Enough of our NPR pushing for your support. Our pledge drive time. It's
One more time, patreon.com/Wheelin Radio with no G.
Correct. Now, let's talk about some trucks.
Okay.
It's time to hit the trail, lock in those hubs, and throw it into low range. Because you are listening to Wheelin' with Keith and Johnny Orange, broadcasting from the Thin Line Off-Road Studio. They're here to talk about 4x4s, trucks, and everything to do with enjoying the great outdoors. Buckle up. Here's your hosts, Keith and Johnny Orange.
What?
Hold on.
What?
Yeah, a little better.
What are we cheersing to?
Start another great episode of Wheelin'.
Oh, okay. Episode 47.
Sure. Okay.
And play on numbers. Could you think of anything highly significant about the number 47?
It's just greater than 46.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Not as good as 48. But that's all I got.
No, 48, we have big plans.
Did we?
Next week, episode 48, Ford F-Series history.
Oh, right.
1948, the world got the Ford F-Series.
Yes.
That's your last chance, folks. If you want to chime in, or if you're a huge F-Series history buff, and you want us to talk to you on the episode, we're willing to talk to you. But if you want the F-Series episode to be done correctly, get a hold of us.
Yes.
Because otherwise, we're going to screw it up.
Probably. We'll see what happens.
So,
it's a 50-50 shot.
47 in the automotive world after World War II is a significant year, as in this was the year that a lot of the new a lot of the new post-war models finally came out, because it took a year or two for the big three to retool. A lot of the cars that came out in 46 were just the same as the 42s prior to the war. And so 47, there was a lot of new cars. In the 4x4 and off-road world, not so much. If there's a listener out there that says, hey, you forgot about this in 47, shoot us a message on Wheelin or post up something in 4x4 Talk.
Let us know what's up.
on Facebook. Speaking of which, there's a lot more people signing up on 4x4 Talk lately.
Excellent.
I don't know. Maybe they're listening to us here, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So, but
I'm all right with it. I know I've been talking to a lot of people about it. So.
47, though, if you want to play a little bit on numbers, I think kind of works with what our topic is going to be today.
It's like a prime number, too, or something, isn't it?
It's
only divisible by 1 in itself.
I have no idea.
Or something. I'm bad at math. I don't know.
I know you got some 4x4 news and stuff, but I'm just going to throw it out there right now. Yeah. Stephanie has her tax return money. Nice. My beautiful fiance has her tax return money, and it is burning a hole in her pocket.
I mean, I can help with that.
Yeah, so could I. I'm trying to get out of debt and all that. But she is texting me like 6 times a day with, hey, check out this car I found on Auto Trader, or check out this car on Marketplace, or whatever. I think she's at the point where she is going to abandon, at least for street use, maybe she'll keep it as a wheeling rig, Stephanie's Chevy Tractor.
That would be interesting as a dedicated off-road rig.
Well, we could go so much more wild with it because we finally wrench on the thing.
Yeah.
Because right now it's her daily driver.
35s. Off the rip.
And every modification I do to that thing, I have to do in, a day period or less.
Yeah.
So now...
this could be fun. You got a spare Dana 60s laying around?
We could go Dana 60s, or because it's a passenger drop front, we could maybe do some Toyota landcruiser axles.
God, how would you have to do the drive line on that with Dana 60s?
What do you mean?
Drive shafts would be so short.
Yeah, pretty short. We can make it work, though.
We could put it on a truck frame. I got to get out of this mindset.
Did you see today's post and recording day, not uploading day? So today's what? March?
March, bro.
March 6th? Is that what today is? March 6th?
Yes.
On the Museum of Off-Road Adventure page, our This Day in Off-Road History. Today wasn't really a huge thing, but back in 2006, GM dumped a bunch of shares of their stock in Suzuki. Now, they've been in this business, quote-unquote, partnership since 1981, and they've rebadged vehicles back and forth.
Yeah.
So, like her Chevy Tracker, and yes, I'm using the right word for once, Chevy Tracker, is actually
confused for a moment there.
Is actually, I know, a Suzuki Vitara.
Are you feeling okay?
A little bit, No coronavirus yet, but
no, I mean that's clearly not corona. That's way too heavy.
Her Chevy Tracker is a Suzuki Vitara that literally has Chevy upholstery, a Chevy horn button on the steering wheel, and a Chevy grill. Even under the hood, it says Suzuki and everything. So
that's funny.
It is a Suzuki, but rebadged as a Chevy.
Funny.
Now, of course, the Geo Tracker was also a Suzuki Sidekick. It was the same vehicle either way.
So I'm not really at all familiar with those. I know a little bit about the Samurai, the one you used to have, and that's about it.
Yeah, no, that's a vehicle that GM never rebadged. So pretty much after that, though, all the small four-wheel drives that Suzuki produced, GM rebadged through their partnership.
Nice.
And then there are vehicles that Suzuki rebadged that were built by GM. Some little pickup trucks and some different things. I'm not exactly sure which ones.
Yeah.
There wasn't as many. GM did more rebadging of Suzuki vehicles, and they weren't really trying to hide the fact. It was just literally it was a badge engineered product. This was what we're doing. So they still have stock and shares in Suzuki and a good working partnership, but they don't have as much. At one point, they had, I think, a 17% ownership in Suzuki, and they sold a lot of that for about $2 million. They got rid of some of it when they need cash back in 2006.
Yeah.
So, the question, is here. She's driving this little Suzuki Vitara / Chevy Tracker. And I was getting around the post that we put today. You didn't see the post?
I didn't have much chance today. I was trying to pull stuff up for this and that. Holy crap.
The former president of Great Lakes Four-Wheel Drive Association, and I know you have some news about them.
Yep.
And I believe current, unless he's retired, stepped down, current president of the United Four-Wheel Drive Association, which is the worldwide association, Jim Mazzola, old Wheelin friend of mine.
I've heard the name.
Goes way back. He's a Michigander. I've gone on probably conservatively 15 or 20 wheeling trips with him over the last 20 years.
Nice.
And he wheels and is still wheeling a Chevy Tracker up on Dana 44s.
Nice.
With 589 gears, and I believe he's running 40-inch tires on it now. Yeah. There's a picture of it. Pull it up. I mean, if you got time, go on, and that's an old picture.
It's on their
museum.
Facebook?
No, it's on the museum page. In fact,
that's the picture.
Yeah, and then from March 6th, but then he went and commented with a bunch of other pictures of the same vehicle, throughout the build. And his son used to have a Geo Tracker. But
nice.
You see the pictures of it?
Not yet. I'm just finding your internet's kind of slow
pulled it
right
up
now.
yet.
I'm trying.
No, that's understandable. So yeah, it's kind of a Suzuki day, talking about, Chevy or Stephanie possibly getting rid of the Tracker. You like it?
I want it. Would I even fit in that thing though?
His build quality of his rig and everything else I've ever seen him build is, I think he's an engineer by trade. Top notch.
Nice.
So, folks, if you want to see what...
just go see.
Yeah, go see Mr. Mazzola's Tracker on the Museum of Off-Road Adventures page.
A lot of other cool ones on here, too. But I'm sorry, his is... Oh.
Yeah. He's got the...
I never would have figured that's what that thing was.
Yeah. Pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Started out as Stephanie's vehicle. Same vehicle as Stephanie's, just different color.
I like his color better, though.
You like the red one? The bright red one? Yeah, pretty cool.
That's really nice. Heavy-duty winch, heavy-duty bumper, stinger.
So, anyways, we may be able to do some stuff with...
She should get that one.
She should get that
Forget the rest of this. You got to buy this one, Stephanie.
You get Jim's? Yeah, she's seen it in person. She likes it, too. But she's looking at a few other vehicles. Mm-hmm. And before we get into that and start talking about some of those vehicles, you said you had... let's just roll into some 4x4 news here. News about Great Lakes Four-Wheel Drive Association?
So I got a message from Mr. Mike Tim. And it was actually inviting us out, so it's something we'll have to discuss a little bit later here. In July, at the Oakland County Fair, the Great Lakes Four-Wheel Drive Association is having a day at the fair on Sunday the 19th. So open to everybody, all four-wheel drives, or 4x4s and side-by-sides, no quads or motorcycles. There's a couple different events. Looks like they have a tug of war, chance to drive over crushed cars. Oh, that sounds cool. Obstacle course, a show. There's going to be vendors there, a winching demonstration. Oh, that's cool. And you do not have to be a member of the Great Lakes Four-Wheel Drive Association to participate. So there's a little entrance fee, but take a look at them, and if you have a chance, go check it out for sure. And maybe a couple of us will be there, or one of us, or...
Yeah, possibly. I think my membership may have lapsed. I've been a member, though, pretty steadily all the way since, I want to say about 2003.
Nice.
And, I think I paid a couple of years. I have to look at when my membership expires. I think I have my membership card on my desk.
Nice.
But Great Lakes Four-Wheel Drive Association, if you are a fan of off-roading and wheeling and just the general outdoors, they're not a 4x4 club. What they are is they are a political action organization. They go around helping to keep trails open. They work hand in hand with the DNR, with various trail
I've never actually
cleanups.
known a lot about them, so this is...
You didn't? Oh, you didn't?
No, we've talked briefly about it, but I honestly, I always thought it was a club.
No, it's a great organization.
Cool.
They actually keep an attorney on retainer for helping with things up in Lansing, and it's not just Michigan. Now, of course, they are most active in Michigan, but they do look at issues that are all around the Great Lakes region, and they have members from all around the Great Lakes region. So there are members from Wisconsin, Minnesota, Indiana, Ohio, Canada.
I'm gonna have to look into that.
Yeah, it's a great,
pull that up right now.
Great association. I was pretty active with them up until a few years ago, and really life got in the way. It's not like I got bored with anything they were doing inactive. I probably should get back, especially with you and I getting more and more into, I guess, I don't know, I want to call it social media, but getting more into the visual, and we're being louder about our hobby and our passion here. We're talking about this stuff again. So
yeah, we are getting a lot louder about it for sure.
Nice, John. Nice.
Thank you.
That was a highly technical thing he just did there.
Oh yeah.
So they're a great organization. Did you have anything else in 4x4 news, 4x4 talk, anything like that?
Not off the top of my head. I think I don't remember if I mentioned just to you or on there last week. I sort of fixed that problem with Pegasus.
Which problem?
The throttle runaway thing.
Oh, yeah. You said a bigger spring or something?
Yeah, I put a return spring on it.
Okay.
I had one before, but it caused me issues trying to get above 60 miles an hour, so I took it off.
Okay.
It was super soft pedal without it, but I put one back on.
It's a Wrangler. They
Everything's
can't
fine.
go over 60 anyways, can they?
I've hit 85 in that thing.
In a Wrangler.
In my Wrangler.
The windshield didn't collapse in on you?
No, I mean, it shook like crazy. I attributed some of that to some sort of misalignment in the diesel swap or the misalignment in suspension or something. I was nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I can see
that. That was downhill with a tailwind too, though, in all fairness.
Yeah.
No, I could get upwards of about 70 as long as I'm not going up a hill.
Okay.
So, yeah, flat or downhill, I'm fine.
Yeah, okay, all right. I'll give you that.
Other than that, nothing.
Museum minutes, I know we haven't done that in a couple of episodes now. We have gone back to weekend-only hours.
Okay.
And partially that is because we don't have really, what would the word for it be, consistent coverage for volunteers for weeknights. Now, our new treasurer, who I'm not sure we mentioned, I know we mentioned on the museum page, I'm not sure if we mentioned on Wheelin, Mr. Dan Blair.
We talked about him. I don't remember if we ever did an official introduction on him, though.
Okay, Mr. Dan Blair,
Sorry,
old Wheelin friend of ours, is now the treasurer. He took over. I was holding that position intermittently, or not intermittently, interimly would be the word?
Temporarily,
sure. I was holding that position as a non-voting board member. It was really bothersome to myself, probably more to myself than the board, but because it was kind of a conflict of interest.
I completely understand.
And so I'm really glad to be away from that position now.
Yeah.
Now Dan is that treasurer. And so with him being there, he did say that there's a possibility he might be able to open up on like Monday nights or something.
Cool.
We're looking at a couple of options. But
I'd say I wish I was closer to be able to do that more often.
Well, I know if someone's interested in visiting the museum, we have been able to...
Yeah, we can accommodate.
We've pretty much always been able to open by appointment.
I think there's
you can do the same.
Yeah, there was like the one time I couldn't. I don't remember where I was. But.
Yeah. But if somebody's interested in seeing the Museum of Off-Road Adventure, which is a real place, by the way.
I promise. I've been there.
Well, here's the thing.
We were all there Monday, matter of fact.
Our social media following on Facebook and on Instagram is actually getting, I don't want to say huge, but it's getting built up a lot more than it was, say, even 3 or 4 months ago. And there's a lot more people. And we've gotten those messages where people are like, oh, this is really cool. Is this a real place? Yes, it's a real place. This is not
That's how
just...
we get the pictures.
Yeah, it's not... Well, not all the pictures. A lot of them we get off online for this day in off-road history.
You meant those. Yeah.
But they're like, is this a real place? And yes, it's a real place. Yes, it's a real organization. And I'm really glad that everybody's following us on social media and they're becoming more aware of us. But we need to remind people every once in a while.
We do exist.
This is not an internet-only thing. This is a real, honest-to-goodness place, brick-and-mortar organization, real museum, which finally Google even recognizes us as being in the right spot for once.
I mean, you've started getting calls about making sure the Google listing is up-to-date and accurate.
I have.
Oh.
Yes.
Those are fun, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, John, we haven't even gotten into talking about vehicles, but I think we need to do that. Let's take a quick break, and then let's just go right into that.
Sounds good.
Hey, it sounds like it's time to swap out that old engine for something better, John.
Yeah, man, but I have so much into my trans and transfer case setup already. I don't want to change those too.
Sounds like you need to call Quick Draw Brand Adapters. They specialize in conversion bell housings for nearly all diesel and gasoline engines, including the new 2.8R Cummins.
I like weird engines. I want something different.
Then you definitely need to visit QuickDrawBrand.com today. They have those hard-to-find parts. They also have used diesel engines available. You can call them at 513-446-9654.
Cool, I'll do that. See what they have. Thanks. You start. You start.
What?
I don't know.
Why are we whispering?
I don't know.
All right.
So they don't know what's going on until we do.
Oh my God. Listeners, we are 47 episodes in, and we still have not really figured out the timing thing of this. We have Andrew, the producer, come over, and he does his little arm wave of his watch. We understand what he's saying, but it's not like this is a radio show where you have to take a commercial break at a certain time.
Nah, we're flexible.
We have sponsors that we are very happy to have.
Absolutely. Thank you all. Much appreciated.
If anybody is a business owner and you're interested in sponsoring Wheelin, we'd love to talk to you. We have very reasonable rates. So enough of that. Getting right into Stephanie's choices. She has been looking at all these different vehicles. Now, I'm going to give you, I know that I gave you a little bit of a list, but you can maybe read off some of that list. But here's the deal. Here's what she's looking for. And these are a little bit tight restrictions. So first off, she's looking to go, I never even said why the play on numbers. She currently has basically a 4-passenger SUV. She's looking to go to a 7-passenger SUV. 4 to 7, 47. Episode 47.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So she's looking to go from her Chevy Tracker, which really is a 5, but I mean, put 3 people across the back seat of that thing, and they're getting real
tiny, man.
Yeah, they're getting real friendly.
It's like a 1.5 of me.
Yeah. So she's looking for a 7-passenger SUV. So that means third row seat. Definitely has to have 4-wheel drive, preferably low range 4-wheel drive, not just an all-wheel drive vehicle. She's not into big vehicles, so she's not really looking for a Suburban or an Excursion. She doesn't even really like Tahoe. Not that she doesn't like them. She thinks that Tahoes and Expeditions are too big. So she's looking for a small to mid-size SUV. Dare I say crossover? Maybe not on that, because the crossovers are usually more of a car.
Yeah, they're a little more like the 4-passenger, smaller type stuff.
And after talking the other night, I also found out a few more things. Before we even get into a price range here, which is going to be another problem, but we have a camper that weighs, I believe, 2890, and if you throw some junk in it and whatnot, basically call it 4,000 pounds. So we're looking for something that can safely tow, say, 4,500 pounds down the road.
Okay.
4,500 pound tow rating. We'd like to have, at least a 4,500 pound tow rating, and like I said, 7-passenger, 4-wheel drive, smaller, and her budget is probably about $4,000 max. Which seems...
There's that 4 again.
There's a 4. Seems really tight, but
it's doable.
She does not like the new look of the newer vehicles for the most part anyways.
I understand completely.
Pretty much the vehicles she thinks are the best looking are things that were produced from the mid-90s through about 2010.
Sounds about right.
So I gave you a little bit of a list. Did you come up with anything else?
So, nothing I could think of.
Nothing you could... It was a pretty comprehensive list of what she's been looking at?
I think so. I mean, so what I did, I was looking up like pros and cons lists of those vehicles. Got here tonight, found out I looked up most of them wrong.
Okay, I'm gonna kind of go off the top of my head.
Okay.
The ones she started out looking at, the first one she started sending me was the Jeep Commanders.
Those are cool.
I think they look
They're
awesome.
actually very comfortable. I've ridden in one a couple times.
I've never been in one.
I rode in one. It was a dive team thing. I rode with a guy to Detroit in one. Very comfortable.
Okay.
I had seen one actually being towed on a flatbed once. This is actually pretty funny. My dad and I were at that dealership in Richmond. Saw a Jeep Commander being towed down, the road on a flatbed, completely crushed up.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I that night I was on Marketplace. I found it listed
for sale.
For parts. And I messaged the guy. I'm like, this is a weird question, but about this time, were you rolling through Richmond? He goes, yeah, actually. He says, yeah, I saw you. Dude, what happened? He was in a collision. And, I mean, everybody, all the passengers in the vehicle were fine. Kept everybody nice and safe. So they're great in that respect.
Well, so before we get into the pros and cons of them, She was looking at the Jeep Commander. Mm-hmm. She had sent a couple smaller ones until we kind of re-looked at, the tow capacity and all that.
Yeah.
And part of the reason is Project Excursion is used every day as a work vehicle now.
Yeah.
And it is aging out. It's rusty. I'm going to keep it on the road as long as I possibly can.
Yeah.
But we're thinking about something that can be used as a family vehicle, also so I don't have to pull my tools and everything out if we want to go somewhere, 7 of us.
Sounds like what you want is one of those old, 70s or 80s Lincoln Town cars then.
I've showed her those.
Yeah. I saw it at a gas station last night, dude.
I showed her. I just found on Marketplace a 79 Lincoln Continental.
Nice.
The back seat of this thing was about 35 feet wide. I'm like...
They're like 12 body trunks,
exactly.
too, and they're great.
I said, there we go. Yeah. She doesn't want that. She likes her SUVs.
You can lift them. They're solid frames.
I'm just
easy to lift them.
Full disclosure here. So, like I said, about $4,000. That's because that's about what she's got for her tax return money, and she doesn't want to get into a loan or anything. She wants to pay cash for this thing.
Understandable.
For a used vehicle. Her probably quote unquote dream vehicle. Every time we're going down the road and she sees one somewhere, those Mercedes G-Wagons. Oh. Those little boxy things. She loves that boxy look. And that was one of the reasons she sent me a couple of Scion XBs as well, because they're boxy. She likes those boxy SUVs.
I think I've seen those.
They're made by Toyota, but they're really tiny. It's a little front-wheel drive thing. But so going back to she's not going to get a Mercedes for $4,000.
Probably not.
Not right now.
Not a good condition one.
We could save up for a few years. Maybe we can buy one cash. Right now, a decent G-Wagon that is 15 years old is still in that mid-20 range.
I'll believe it.
So that's not even on the table right now.
Oh, the only thing I'll say about those, the maintenance is...
Yeah, Mercedes.
You want to get the good parts on those. Yeah, it's a lot.
It can be, exactly. And that was, okay, so that was let me just go into that one. She sent me a number of, I don't even remember what the model is, but she sent me a number of the largest BMW SUV. And I told her the same thing. BMW makes a heck of a great product.
Yeah.
But everybody I've ever talked to that's owned a BMW says you pretty much have to have them serviced at a BMW dealership for 2 reasons. One, there's not a lot of aftermarket parts support for them.
Oh, yeah. No.
2, BMW uses a lot of special tools to work on them.
Yes, they do.
They use a ton of BMW-specific tools.
Yeah.
And unless you are a hobbyist, a BMW mechanic in your garage, and you've been acquiring these tools over the years, chances are any major repair you're going to do to that thing, you're going to screw something up because you're trying to jerry-rig it with the wrong tools.
Yeah. My buddy's little brother got one, and it needed a few things, and I looked into doing some of the work for him, and it's just like, this is out of my realm of comfort.
Yeah.
I mean, it's doing all this weird crap to pull this part to replace it, and it's like, it didn't even make sense. Like the water pump on this guy's car is not in the engine, it's on the outside of the engine.
Oh, it's an external. I've seen that, yeah.
That's goofy, dude.
That's weird.
Yeah, I don't like it.
So we've kind of said, okay, no to the BMWs, no to the Mercedes. But that doesn't mean we're saying no to foreign, because actually the foreign producers are the ones for the most part that are producing that size SUV that she likes.
Yeah.
So what we've come down to now is we used to have a Lexus LX450, which is the higher end version. It's the 80 series landcruiser. Yeah. It's the higher end version. So let's put those all in the same package. You got the 80 series landcruiser. It's either the FZJ80 or the LX450 landcruiser. Those are all going to have the same pros and cons. And she really liked that. And we are looking for possibly another one of those. Same thing, prices are a little higher for a decent used model. Yeah. She's also looked a little bit at the Lexus 470 and the 100 series Land Cruiser. Yeah. Same thing. You can find a 300,000 mile one for $4,000, but to find one that's maybe 160 or 170,000 miles for that price
bumps up a little bit.
A little harder to find. Yeah. She's looking at going on that same Toyota line. She's looking at the Toyota Sequoia, which is a little larger. It's almost the size of a Tahoe, but it is a little bit more aerodynamic, a little smaller front end on it.
It's probably a little better fuel mileage and all that.
And that is the same truck as the Tundra, but with a rear end on it. So kind of like a Tahoe is a Chevy truck with a back end on it.
Yeah.
You know? It's that along that platform. It's truly a half-ton / 3/4 ton truck with, an SUV body.
Yeah. Well, so I do have one question. So you sent me a list of stuff, like I said. I was able to find information on almost all of them. I'm realizing now I closed out of one tab before I remembered to. I figured the Land Cruisers, I'd leave it up to you, but I have a question for you.
Sure.
So I couldn't find anything on this vehicle, no matter how hard I tried. So I assume you spelled something wrong, but you said she's looking at the Honda bullshit. I can't find anything on that one. I'm sorry, Keith. I got nothing. So you're going to have to fill me in on what that is, too. I'm sorry.
Oh, man. She sent me a couple of Hondas, and I was like, what are these? Like, they're small Honda SUVs. Now, we've talked about this on the show before. I'm a huge fan of Honda motorcycles, Honda four-wheelers, Honda small cars like the Civics. Honda has yet to build a truck or an SUV worth of crap, in my opinion. So
I believe it.
I mean, when all the Honda fans, when they were going to come out with a pickup, Honda's like, we're going to come out with a pickup truck, and we're going to give you the pickup truck you've always wanted. And they come out with the Honda Ridgeline, and it's like, what is this? There's no low range. It's basically an Avalanche with an ugly front end on it. Like,
I'll give it this. So there's one of the guys I dive with. He got this thing for technical diving, and the reason being the tailgate folds down, or you fold it up and then it swings out.
Yeah, well, so does a 1984 Lincoln or 1984 Mercury Grand Marquis station wagon.
Nice.
And that's not a random thing I just drew out. That we had one of those when I was a kid. 1984. But no, I know it's got some neat little things. There's a trunk under the floor on the Honda Ridgeline, but that's not what she's looking at. I can't remember. Stephanie, you want to come on? You want to come on the podcast over there? She's nodding her head no. Trying to figure out, I don't think there's a Honda product worth looking at in that.
Obviously not that model.
Yeah, no. She's not really a fan of the Explorers, which I know you can get in the 7-passenger. The domestics, they're like I said, the GM ones. You got the Chevy Traverse, which is kind of it's more of a crossover. It looks more like a minivan. She doesn't like the stuff that looks too much like a minivan. Yeah. She does like the more truck SUV square boxy stuff.
Like the Nissan Pathfinder she just sent a link of.
Another Nissan Pathfinder. That's another one.
It does look pretty nice.
She keeps sending me pictures of those. She likes the look of those. She likes the weird looking vehicles. Like I made fun the other day of the Infiniti Q56, I think it's called.
QX56 is what I found on that one.
I think they're butt ugly, and she thought it was cute. And that all the Q56 is that is a Nissan Armada. I think they're Armada.
She just sent another something here.
You ever think about that? I believe it's called a Nissan Armada.
I agree.
Nissan Armada,
Oh, I'm sorry, I was agreeing with her, not you.
Oh, okay.
She's sending messages on Facebook here.
Oh my God. So what does she have to say?
Well, she sent a link of a Jeep. She was looking at that Pathfinder. It's a Honda Pilot, not the Honda bullshit.
Okay, the Honda. Okay.
And then she's correcting us. It's called an Exploder, not an Explorer.
Oh, Exploder, yes. Anyways, back to that stupid Nissan thing. It is called the Nissan Armada, as far as I know. But you and I
know where this is going.
I mean, you live right next to Armada, Michigan, and every time I don't think I can call them a Nissan Armada. It's Nissan Armada.
Yeah, I think I would do that too.
I mean, every time I see it, it's a Nissan Armada.
So Armada has this big county fair every year, as we all know. I think we need to find one of those and go there and say, well, we get free entry, right? Is this a fair for this?
Oh, there you go. But it's spelled the same.
Free parking at least. Yeah.
So I think that's the list. Did I miss any from the list I sent you earlier? Besides the Honda bullshit?
No, I think that's about it.
I think Andrew's going to be doing a lot of bleeping, or he's just going to say...
the Envoy.
He's going to say screw it.
I don't remember if you mentioned the Envoy or not.
Okay, so the Envoy, the GMC Envoy XL, I think is what they're called.
Yes. Yeah, the Envoy XL.
is a 7-passenger.
I again pulled up the wrong one.
I'm not sure. I think you could get the Trailblazer also in the extended 7-passenger version as well. Might have only been the Envoy.
I don't know on that one. A friend of mine had one of those for a while.
When you went to the 7-passenger, they were stretched a little longer, and they went to the V8.
Yeah.
Unless it has been superseded by something, the Trailblazer and Envoy with the 6-cylinder has the record for GM's vehicle with the most recalls. It's considered a complete lemon of a vehicle.
That's unsettling.
Yeah. And so I'm not a huge fan. I've worked on a couple of them back when I was the fleet maintenance guy for the pest control company.
Yeah.
We had a couple people working in the office that drove those. And when we were slow at different times, we would work on, basically for parts and labor, we would work on the employees' cars.
Oh, that's cool.
And we had a couple of people that had Envoys and Trailblazers. They were real popular at the time. And I hated working on them. Every single one had the stupidest problems. Yeah. The brakes were undersized. They would burn up brakes like crazy because it had brakes that were meant for a little tiny car in an SUV that weighs 6,000 pounds.
That's two of the cons on here: fuel economy, steering, and handling on that one.
Yeah, they had ARM issues. On the 6-cylinder one, the transmission lines go under the intake manifold, through the engine, out the front.
What?
And there's a bracket that rubs on them and they leak. And to correctly replace them, you got to pull the whole intake and everything off. The two that I've done, I just ran new trans lines on the outside of the engine.
Done too.
Exactly. But I'm not a huge fan of them. Although, from what I understand, even though I've never driven one of these ones, the V8 versions of, especially like the Envoy,
pretty peppy.
They're peppy. They're a better vehicle. And then that's another one. Even though it's not a 7-passenger vehicle, the Saab version of the Envoy, because GM owned Saab at the time.
Yeah.
They had the Q, I think it was the 97, and not Q, the 97X Aero, which had a 400 horsepower LS motor in it.
Okay.
So, and they were a better vehicle.
There's so many letter and number designations with all these foreign vehicles.
I know.
Man. Oh my!
I know.
Give you a headache thinking about it.
So we've gone through this whole list, and do you have one from that list that's popping out to you? Like, what's your opinion, man? I want to hear.
That's a good one. I mean, to me, they all look just incredibly, incredibly goofy. I know you guys liked that Lexus a lot when you had it.
Well, okay, so the one we had the factory locking differentials front and rear.
Yep.
Like a Jeep Rubicon. It was solid axle. Now, that is the only solid axle option of this entire group that we're talking about, is the 80 Series Land Cruiser.
Yeah.
She likes those. Deals can be had. I have found them. I have purchased them sub $4,000 through the business before. But I would say it's not an everyday occurrence.
Yeah.
It's something that you really got to watch out for. And that's what we're going to do, too. If an 80 Series Land Cruiser or Lexus drops in our lap under 4 and it's decent miles, okay.
Yeah.
But if we're going to talk pros and cons of those, there's a huge cult following on the 80 Series Land Cruiser. Maintenance on parts, front axle rebuilds, Burfields, things like that can be a little pricey. Not insane. But they're underpowered and they guzzle fuel. They have a 4.2 liter straight 6.
Yeah.
They are also known for the PHH. I'm sure you've heard of that. You never heard of the PHH?
Nope.
Depends on who you're talking to. It stands for either pesky heater hose or pregnant heater hose.
So I'm taking that this thing bulges and causes problems, and then
it is about a 3-inch hose behind the cylinder head, between the cylinder head and the firewall, that's almost impossible to get to.
What?
That bulges out, and like an aneurysm, kind of like I have, and eventually it can blow. And
so does the same fix for this apply to you then? Or?
Yeah. So there's external
like silicone hose or something.
There's external repairs, or you go in there and you spend a couple hours dismantling enough stuff to get to it.
Sounds like a blast.
It's a very, it's one of the few Achilles heels of an 80 Series Land Cruiser.
Yeah.
Michigan, rust is an issue with the 80 Series Land Cruisers.
Yeah, it is with anything.
It really with anything.
Yeah.
In the leather interior ones, whether it's a Land Cruiser or a Lexus, the front seats tend to be cracked and destroyed.
Bummer.
And so you're almost always, unless they've been recovered, you're now looking at seat covers or a reupholstering the front seats. But you're looking at 12, 13 miles a gallon tops. They tow okay. We used to tow my Landcruiser to other events with the Lexus.
Yeah.
You got about 8 miles a gallon doing that.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'll say this. I've kind of just looking over what I've got pulled up. I've kind of got it narrowed down to 3.
okay.
But how about we take a quick break and we make these fine folks wait for a few more minutes, and then we'll come back and go over those.
Fair enough.
Okay. Sorry.
Ah, spring. It means so many things. Birds, flowers, warmer temperatures, and oh, let's not forget, bugs! Don't let pesky bugs take over your home. Call ABC Home and Commercial Services. They have the solution for your spiders, wasps, box elder bugs, Asian lady beetles, cluster flies, and more. ABC Home and Commercial Services, the best in pests. Call 810-794-5678.
All right, John. So you're telling me you've got it down to a top 3. And during the break, we were looking at, she's Facebook messaging both of us.
Yeah.
Picture or ads for Nissan Pathfinders. I still think they're funky looking. I know nothing about them, and I'm going to put this not a challenge. This is just a help. If anyone out there that's a listener to us knows about those things, because she seems to really like the look of the Nissan Pathfinder.
That one she sent the link of. That
looks super clean.
Yeah,
low mileage too.
I am just blown away by that, honestly.
Somebody tell me, are these things lemons? Are they great? I know literally nothing. My last experience with a Nissan was a hard body, like 87 Nissan pickup truck that my buddy Ryan had that was jacked up and back in the 90s. So my
last experience with one was a collision on a highway. I was not involved in it. I just kind of witnessed it. But yeah, I mean, everybody was safe. That dude's car had...
What kind of Nissan was it?
I'm pretty sure it was a Pathfinder, actually.
Okay, all right.
It was hard to see. It was pretty late at night, but no, that guy collided with another guy. The other guy's car was gone. This thing, I mean, he was able to coast to the side of the road. The other guy got spun around right into the median.
Well, I guess...
It was a long night.
I said that I haven't had an experience. I did have one other experience. I rented a Nissan Altima car twice. Mm-hmm. First time I rented one.
Is this the one in Utah?
Well, I'm going to tell you about that one. Yeah. So the first time I rented one to drive it over to Niagara Falls because my truck was being worked on.
Gotcha.
And I had a vacation I was doing over there. Halfway on my way over, I lost all dash lights, all gauges, everything. The only thing that worked was like the air conditioner.
That's weird.
I lost all electrical to the dash in this rent-a-car. That only had like 20,000 miles on it. So, and the seat was probably one of the most uncomfortable seats I've ever dealt with in my entire life.
I believe it.
So I pretty much swore at that point that I would never buy a Nissan Altima.
Yeah.
Then, in Utah, a friend of mine, I went out to go visit, rented a Nissan Altima. We went to go fishing outside of Moab. Mm-hmm. Yes, the Moab, the off-road mecca of the United States. I love this story. We're trying to find, he was a little bit of an off-roader at one time, but not real crazily. We're trying to find this fishing hole off this river that is supposedly just outside of Moab, Utah.
Yeah.
It's during Easter Jeep Safari, or like 2 days before it, so that everybody's rolling into town. We're going down these back roads, these trails, quote unquote. We're going all around the place, and he finally gets to this point. He's like, "Man, I know it's down this way. I've been down here before." And he's taking this rented Nissan Altima, and I'm hearing rocks underneath it, crunch, and we're going up and over things, and just kind of hammering it in a couple of spots. And
really hope you had the insurance on that.
I think we even got out and stacked some rocks one time to get the thing over something. We never did find the fishing hole he was looking for. We ended up getting to the end of the road that we were on, and here's the entry sign that says, "Welcome to Steelbender Trail." We just did Steelbender backwards in a rented Nissan Altima.
That's awesome.
Now, we might have done the bypasses and stuff. I don't know. I don't know the full trail. So somebody might call me out and say there's no way you did it. But I'll tell you what, we did a portion at least of Steelbender. We somehow ended up on Steelbender.
Awesome.
Which is Steelbender's not a top a black diamond trail from what I understand. It's a pretty tight trail, but we did it on a Nissan Altima. So
that's awesome.
Whatever.
Accidentally entered the Easter Jeep Safari.
Utah wheeling rock crawling is really good. It's awesome, but you do that out there more for the view than you do for.
Oh yeah, I've seen some of the pictures on that.
Yeah.
Good
Michigan,
Lord, beautiful place.
It doesn't compare to Michigan up north wheeling
No,
where
I like
mud,
much
big rocks, and and we just destroy our machines.
Yeah, I like the trail stuff better. That's my thing.
Yeah, we have really. I mean, there's people that have come from out west.
Yeah.
Who are hardcore, well-known off-roaders who've come up to, say, northern Michigan or northern Ontario and wheeled with us, and they've been like, "You guys are insane." Like this is crazy. So, anyways, top 3, John. Top 3.
It's kind of 4 now because of the talk of that Pathfinder. That particular one is nice.
Okay.
So, being the comparisons on this. Just in terms of visual appearance on these, it looks like these 3 are going to have the most amount of space to them.
You're not going on specs, Mr. Technical, Mr. I'm going to read you off the torque spec of the spark plugs of a 1964 Nash Rambler or whatever.
It's a spark plug, hand tight and a quarter turn. Everybody knows that.
Okay, go ahead.
No, the Commander. I'm saying this because I know y'all got a lot of little ones, so
okay,
you got a haul a lot.
Yeah,
but yeah, the Commander. That Toyota Sequoia, and then that Envoy XL.
All right, so we've already talked about the cons of the XL. The pros being the LS motor in the XL. Mm-hmm. Cons we already talked about.
Yeah.
Going over to the, let's see.
List.
You said the Sequoia and what else?
The Commander.
The Commander. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
ton.
I'll add a couple other reasons for these. Yeah, there's some of the bigger brands, but I don't even know where to get parts for most of these other ones.
Okay, all right.
These are ones you can go almost anywhere, and we'll be able to for a significant amount of time to get stuff
and
for.
That was kind of my point with some of these as well. And I actually agree with you on these top 3.
Yeah.
Now, the Commander, I've never messed with one, never driven one, never been in one, only seen them, like the look of them. They look kind of like an XJ on steroids.
Yeah, I think the idea was like the XJ replacement kind of upgraded, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Now, here's what I can tell you about the Commander. It came with a V6, came with a 4.7 V8.
Yep.
Came with a Hemi V8 in North America. Unfortunately, in other countries, you get a Mercedes diesel. Couldn't get it in the U.S. with the Mercedes diesel.
Really?
Yeah. That was one of the OM series of diesels. I was reading about it the other day. Trying to do my research. This is we're going to make an educated decision here.
Yeah.
The V6 is, from what I found, is underpowered.
Yeah.
And it's the same V6 that they tend to have intake problems with that's in the Wrangler.
I believe it.
And the Liberty.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of issues with those ones, actually.
The 4.7 is a fairly powerful engine, but the 4.7 in the Grand Cherokee platform has the oil.
A lot of problems.
Had the oil pan issues, the head gasket issues.
Yeah.
My question is, do those cross over, or did they fix them in the newer 4.7s in the Commanders? I don't know.
Yeah.
The 5.7 Hemi is a pretty decent motor, but the 04 to 06s had the oiling issues where they would just throw a rod randomly. And that's becoming more apparent in engines that have 150 to 200,000 miles on them. So
I wonder what the cause of that is. That's weird.
It's poor oiling passages, things like that. We had that happen in that Durango that we used to own, that 04 Durango, just randomly threw a rod at like 156,000 miles or something like that. Just wham, right through the block.
Nice.
And so, that concerns me a little bit. Yeah. Especially since we're looking at higher mileage vehicles. We're not looking at something that has 60,000 miles on it. So, I don't know. The Commander, I'm not sold on. I also love Sergio Marchionne's quote on the Jeep Commander.
I don't think I've heard this.
Sergio Marchionne when they discontinued the Jeep Commander, and this is the CEO of Fiat Chrysler, said, yes, we made it. It was unfit for human consumption. I'm not sure why we sold some, but we did.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty strong words.
Yeah. So,
Jeez.
so I don't know, man.
Huh.
Yeah. I would like to find out more about the Commanders.
I would too after that.
Moving on to the... Moving on. You're just like, oh.
Kind of hurts.
It kind of hurts.
I mean, it's not my favorite Jeep, but still. I mean, I would expect that out of that, those kind of comments about the Renegade, but man, the Commander, I don't know. I liked it.
Speaking of comments, I'm going to take a little side note. We're going to go back into some 4x4 talk here.
Okay.
Now, you may or may not remember the one day where we found out that there was a possibility that, your mom was commenting somewhere. Did you ever figure out where she was commenting?
Yeah, it was on the Podbean.
It's on the Podbean app. And so I'm going to read through some of these.
Go for it. I came across them the other day.
Yeah, it just happened to be because I was looking at her app. And here's the Wheelin app on Podbean, which you can comment on. And we had gone from 2 to 6 comments. And these were all within a few minutes of each other. And it says... more jokes to make it funny. This is from Patty Holland. Patty Orange. And then you really need to spell Wheelin, Keith. And then, are you on YouTube tonight? And then they don't respond because you don't know how to read it. Your mom is having a conversation with us through the comments on Patreon.
Yeah, she thought we were
Patreon,
live.
Through
Podbean.
Podbean. So
yeah, she thought we were live with it, and
So your 126-year-old mom, according to Facebook, because she also has her date wrong on there for her birthday, says that
was
we
intentional.
It needs to make more jokes and everything.
Yeah.
So well, whatever. I also just realized that most of the comments on Podbean are from people that you either know or are related to. That's kind of sad.
Well, we need more. Well, I know you.
Yeah.
You commented on it.
If you're a listener on Podbean, I know a lot of people listen to us on Apple Podcasts. Send us whatever platform you listen to us on. Throw us a comment. We love the
just
comments.
let us know. I'd like to get an idea where everybody's from.
But I really enjoyed that your mom was just doing it. So anyways, all right, John. So the Sequoia. Mm-hmm. If I was going to pick any out of all of those, it'd probably be the Sequoia. And here's my reason why. You remember our mutual buddy Lucas? Mm-hmm. Remember how he said when he wanted to purchase a vehicle, he looked up online what is the most simplistic vehicle that is easy to get parts for, easy to work on, and it's all knobs, and he would have gotten crank windows.
Yeah.
The Toyota Tundra pickup truck is that. It is like one of the most simple, old school vehicles built today. It's built in the U.S., it's a very rugged vehicle. It has the legendary Toyota 4.7 V8 that they've been making now for 20-something years. It's fairly fuel efficient, very powerful. The Sequoia is a Tundra with a back end on it.
I like it.
So
we did see a lot of Tundras at the prior place I was at that came in for just the regular oil changes and stuff.
Any major issues or anything?
None that I recall. There was one, it was a part of a factory recall thing, nothing we could touch.
Okay.
But, I mean, even that was, simple and handled quickly by the manufacturer.
And Stephanie had never even heard of Sequoia prior to this. She likes what she's seeing in the pictures. Mm-hmm. I think she might think it's too big of a vehicle. I'm not sure. But they have a 7,000-pound tow rating. 7,000 pound.
That's impressive.
Mid-size SUV.
That's very impressive.
V8 engine. It gets the best mileage of anything she's been showing us too. They get like 17 miles a gallon. 17,
19 city highway with if I'm reading this correctly, actually no, 17 to 19 highway, 13 to 14 city.
Oh, okay. So a little less than city, and she does mostly city driving. But the same thing is.
Yeah, you can tweak that though.
Well, that's true. And you're not. The way I look at it, it's a wider vehicle.
Yeah.
So you're not talking about, say, the Suzuki XL7, which is something she looked at originally, which is the same thing as her Tracker, just stretched with a third row. Nice. You still put 3 people in a row there, and they are just shoulder to shoulder.
See, what I think we need to do is get another one of those, just cut them in half and stick them together. You got welders and grinders.
Well, that's
We
what an
can do it.
XL7 is. It's a stretched
Well,
tracker.
there you go.
Suzuki X.
We'll
Plus,
make that. What would that be? 4-row seating then?
they're not 4-row. They're 3-row. But
Oh, no. I'm saying you take two and you put them
man,
together.
so
and make one.
redneck, John. So redneck.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Nothing at all. This is welcome to Wheelin.
Yeah.
But
Have grinder, have welder. We'll make weird stuff.
that's true. Is there any others out there? Can you think of anything else?
Not off the top of my head quickly. I mean, not stuff you already said not interested in.
Okay.
So I don't know a lot about the third row vehicles just in general. It's nothing I've really ever considered or looked into.
Well, and that's she wasn't originally all over the third row idea.
Yeah.
But when I expressed that to her and I said, listen, you guys don't like riding around in my dusty, dirty excursion that is full of dust, grease, drywall dust.
Actually, so I do have one suggestion.
Clean my truck once in a while?
Well, no. I mean, yeah, but okay. So this is what a friend of mine did, and he and his wife at the time were looking at a vehicle. They spend a lot of time with family, and everybody's got kids, and they drive around everywhere together. Well, they were looking at the cost of a minivan and insurance and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Came across a cheaper alternative. It's still titled as a car, but it's got capacity like crazy.
Old limousine?
Yep.
Oh, God.
That's what he got. They got an old, I think it was a Lincoln, like a town car limo.
I sent her those links. She doesn't like that idea either.
There's some really nice ones out there, though.
I know. And oh my God, we're going to have to do this in the next episode or a different episode. Mm-hmm. Maybe I went to Autorama.
Oh, nice. I remember your invite for that. I didn't see it till way late in the day, but.
You know what? Let's just tell you what, folks, if you want an in-depth report from Wheelin and Wheelin's perspective of the 2020 Detroit Autorama, second largest, I believe, auto show or second oldest and the largest auto show in North America. Really, really cool event. You need to listen to episode 47 after show on Patreon.
I like it.
We're gonna talk about.
I'm gonna crush your spirit on this a little bit though. First,
what's that?
I've never been there.
You've never been to Patreon?
No, to Autorama.
Oh.
I've been in one car show with Pegasus.
I know this.
Yep, I've been to the auto show a few times. That's pretty much it.
Well,
sadly.
I'm gonna tell you all about this year's Autorama. I have not been to Autorama in probably a decade.
Nice.
I
kind of don't feel so bad.
I used to go every single year. When I got out of the quote-unquote car world and over into the 4x4 truck world,
yeah,
I faded away from Autorama. I've been kind of a little bit getting back into the car world. Went to Autorama this year, took the kids. It was a fantastic time. Like I said, I got a few things I want to tell you about Autorama.
I really want to hear them now.
I'm going to tell you
sure.
in the Patreon after show. And if
Sounds good.
Listeners, if you want to do it, you need to go over to patreon.com/Wheelin.
Wheelin Radio.
Wheelin Radio. Ozauta's Wheelin
Yes.
Radio. And find us. Spend $2. I mean, come on, man. It's $2.
Check it out.
You
There's a lot of cool stuff. I mean, a lot of good back shows, and we're always adding more. Well, once a week at least.
Exactly, and it's
So
it's
looking to
more
build more
scripted
on that,
than even
yeah.
this. So it's
More scripted.
well, this isn't really scripted.
How
but-
much have you had from that cup?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Or less scripted. Less
There we
scripted.
go.
That's what I mean. Less scripted.
A little more relaxed, a little more freestyle.
Yeah. So, but we haven't made a decision for Stephanie yet, and of course, it's not our decision. Mm-hmm. It's going to also depend on a great deal out there. If there's a listener in the Great Lakes region, because I don't want to travel to California right now, but if there's a listener in the Great Lakes region that has a smoking deal on one of the vehicles that we're talking about, or something else that they
similar.
think, or similar, yeah, it's going to fit the 7-passenger 4K or less, hopefully under 200,000 miles,
Yeah.
4-wheel drive SUV with a decent tow rating. Let us know if we're missing a vehicle that we need to be looking at. We need to be researching.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Yeah, I didn't know about a lot of. I did not know a lot about a lot on these lists. So I'm sure there's stuff out there worth considering that neither of us have thought about.
Well, whatever she ends up getting, and I know she's going to get something. I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to be 5 months from now. But whatever she ends up getting, we're going to have to do a full review of it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And we're going to be honest about it. We're going to be like, either she bought the stupidest vehicle ever, or she bought the most awesome vehicle ever, or we're just going to be like, well, it's not for us.
Yeah. On the plus side, it's going to be you who ends up sleeping on the couch, not me. So we'll play it by ear.
Oh, there you go. There you go. All right, buddy. You got anything else?
That's all I got for now.
All right. Let's do our after show. You sign us off.
Sounds good. Thanks for listening, and have a good one, everybody.